because all the descendants that still attend church here. So a little bit of history on that for you. Well, it all kind of started back in about 2011 when this letter was sent to me by a friend of mine named Judy Kearney. And she was at a paper collectible show in New York, and this was for sale, and she spotted it. And it was, she opened up the letter, and it was from the lighthouse keeper at Machias Seal Island Lighthouse. And she said, well, Machias Seal Island Lighthouse. And she didn't read the whole letter, but she thought I would be interested in it, so she bought the letter and sent it on to me. And it was a letter from somebody in Fall River, Massachusetts. We'll talk about that. But it all started because somebody at a paper collectible show found this old letter, this old envelope. There's a letter inside of it. I had my hand, but I didn't. There's the original letter. And so I did a little research on it and wrote a story on it. That was back in 2012 in Lighthouse Digest. And I'm going to read you that story in a second, but we kind of forgot about it after that until a couple of years ago when Deborah Baldwin came out and spent the night on the island, and she wanted to know more about these sailors that lost their lives. Two of them were buried at the lighthouse. Anyway, the letter was signed by Canadian lighthouse keeper Charles F. Seeley. And we didn't get a chance to go out to the island, but Machias Seal Island Lighthouse is out in the distance from Little River Lighthouse. It is a Canadian lighthouse, and the only reason it's staffed by a keeper today is because there's a dispute between the United States of America and Canada as to whether that property is Canadian property or U.S. property. So the Canadians built a lighthouse out there, and they've kept the keeper out there to this day. From time to time, locals will go out and plant the American flag on the island, and when they leave, the Canadians take it down and put up the Canadian flag. So it's kind of interesting. The letter was sent to Homer N. Skinner in Fall River, Massachusetts, who was looking for information on the schooner Warr. The vessel was owned by 27 investors from Calais, Maine, and Fall River, Massachusetts. You got to remember the days before phone and radio, anything else. The only source of information was mail, basically. So this letter that we have here was actually written March 21, 1898. It wasn't postmarked until April 4 when somebody could pick it up from the island, got it into Cutler, and mailed it back to Fall River. So it took a while for all these mail situations to get around. In December of 1897, the vessel left Calais, Maine on her way to Fall River and was never seen again. The purpose of the letter was to the lighthouse keeper of Machias Seal Island, who sent to him in hopes of finding out if that vessel had been seen or damaged somewhere along the coast in the Machias Seal Island area. The lighthouse keeper reported he had not seen the vessel. Matter of fact, he even said there was clear skies on that day, but there was a strong wind at that particular time. However, over the next several months, there were numerous sightings by ships traversing the waters between New York and Calais and Eastport of a shipwreck that was floating down the coast. And on March 29, 1898, the remains of the Warr, bottom up, washed ashore at Shinnecock Life Saving Station on Long Island, New York. That's a long ways from here. The life saving station reported that it appeared the vessel had been floating upside down for as many, many weeks as it drifted along the coast. The vessel had a crew of 5 men, one of whom was Captain George Warr, who left a wife and 6 children. Shortly after the Warr left Calais in December 1897, a winter storm struck the area, and the ship likely sunk during that storm. Coincidentally, it was in that December of 1897 that 2 bodies washed up on the rocks of Little River Island Lighthouse, and they were buried there on the island by Little River Lighthouse keeper Roscoe Johnson. Roscoe Johnson's descendants are lived all through this area. Gordon Corbett here is one of them back there right behind you. That was his great-grandfather. So, and his grandfather, Willie Corbett, later on was also a keeper at Little River Lighthouse. The burial site near the boathouse. Now, we didn't know exactly where the burial site was at. We knew they were buried on the island. And when Neil Corbett was alive, who was the grandson of Willie Corbett, I had asked him where it was. I took him out to the island. He was about 87 years old at the time. He showed us where they were buried. Now, back in the 1800s, there were crosses placed out there, but over time, different keepers came and went. The site was kind of obliterated. The crosses disappeared. So then a number of years ago, we had the Boy Scouts come out there and place some rocks on the site where they're buried. And then, of course, last year, Deborah Baldwin built the stone monument on the island where this plaque is going to be installed. So that's kind of the history that started it all. I wrote the story in the July 2012 issue of Lighthouse Digest. So that's, I think it was 2012.
Yes.
Yep, so that's kind of a long time ago. We kind of forgot about it ever since then until, like I mentioned, Deborah came out here, spent the night on the island, and she read about the keepers, the sailors that were buried there, and she became really interested in it, almost infatuated with it. I started doing the research, and of course tracked down some of you who've come here today for this event. So that's where we're at today to get things going. This time I'd like to introduce Representative Will Toole, Maine House of Representatives, District 139,